and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel to each and every one of you, because after two of the longest weeks of our lives, genuinely, Barça are finally back this weekend, and what a game that we have in store for us here. We're going to be heading away to Girona on match day 5, and it's a fixture here that has proved very, very tricky for us last season. And coming up today, we're going to be discussing every element of this match, our opposition, the injury updates that we have, team news, potential lineups, predictions, and so much more, as we are going to be answering the question of whether Hansi Flick may just be ready to serve up an ice-cold dish of revenge at Stadi Montilivi on Sunday. It is all coming up for you guys, so come on and let's get to it. But I do have to begin with the absolutely incredible support that is coming in right now on these super thanks donations. I've got to give shout outs here to Yurmia and Avjit, who are channel members as well. We've got amazing support as always coming in from Max, support from Gambia, now living in Italy. That is absolutely awesome. And big up from Jamaica. I absolutely love the support that I get from Jamaica. Thank you to every single one of you guys. And how about this one right here? An extraordinary super thanks, one of the biggest I've ever received on the channel, and he made great points there about the Frenkie de Jong debate. And we're actually going to be talking more about Frenkie in today's video, so thank you to you all for the amazing support. But I would like to start right here with a very important reminder of the league table right now, because I think it's well worth mentioning. Everybody should know where we stand right now, and it's Barça, by the way, who are well on top. 4 points clear right now, ahead of Real Madrid and Atletico. 4 games played, maximum points, 13 goals scored, and just 3 conceded by Hansi Flick's team. It's going to be interesting this weekend as well. Real Madrid are heading to Real Sociedad at the Anoeta. That's always a tricky game for any team there, and even if Real Sociedad have not made the most electric start to the season, that's going to be one to watch there on Saturday night. But Barça, meanwhile, will be in action earlier on Sunday. That's going to be in the afternoon kickoff slot there, 4:15 p.m. local time. So make sure, guys, that you're making a note of the time here where you are, because you do not want to miss this. Because the aim for Barça, make no mistake about it, guys, coming back here from this international break, what we want is to pick up exactly where we left off. Just remember our final fixture before the break 2 weeks ago. It was magical. It was absolutely breathtaking there, and it was everything we want to see from a Barcelona team. 7 goals against Real Valladolid. We were an unstoppable attacking force. And the key now, as ever, it's going to be replicating that kind of level. We want to see the same intensity, the same focus, the same perfect application of every single element that Hansi Flick wants to bring to this group. And those are the fundamentals that we're going to be looking for and really focusing on from here on in. It's all about consistency. And if we can do that on a regular basis, we are cooking. However, guys, as we all know only too well, no matter what you've done before the international break, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you are going to come back the same way. And Barça is a team in particular. We always seem to struggle after international breaks, whether it be because of injury problems that we suffer during the 2 weeks. That's happened plenty of times. But sometimes we lose a bit of focus, we lose a bit of momentum. And I think it's going to be really interesting here to see how we return from a break under Hansi Flick. I don't think he's going to allow any lack of focus. He is going to get everybody very much tuned back in to what we're trying to do, what we're trying to achieve here. And can Flick be the man to end these sluggish returns from international breaks? Because if we are being completely honest, guys, we need to lock in, and we need to do it immediately here. Because looking at the schedule that we have to come in September, it is full throttle stuff here. We actually have 3 away games in a row. We go away to Girona, away to Monaco in the Champions League, and then away to Villarreal as well. And we've also got here 5 games in the space of 14 days. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous, to be perfectly honest. But hey, this is modern football now. You have to be able to keep going every single game. And I'd say, looking at these fixtures here, the opposition, it's not incredibly daunting. You know, we don't have real superpowers in here, but there are plenty of games that can be tricky, where you could slip up, where you could lose momentum. And I think already here, looking at Girona away, that's one of the toughest games of all. So no doubt about it here, Hansi Flick, he is going to be tested. This is where we're going to start to see what you're going to do with the squad in terms there of rotation, because to navigate your way through that amount of games in such a short amount of time, you've got to rotate, and you've got to be very clever and very selective about when and where you do it. So that is certainly something we're going to already start to keep on against Girona. Although that game in itself, like I say, is no easy task, because when it comes to our opponents this weekend, Girona, you've only got to look back at last season, guys, to understand the threat of Girona. Barca suffered not only an embarrassing 4-2 defeat at home against Girona in December, but we then went on to lose by exactly the same scoreline in May. It was an absolute disaster against Girona last season, and we haven't actually beaten them in our last 3 meetings against them. So there's real problems that they are capable of causing. But I do have to say, one of those that really caused us problems last season was Artem Dovbyk. He was absolutely incredible as Girona's leading man. He even ended the season as the top goal scorer, scored in both of those wins that they had against us. But I absolutely guarantee you, hand on heart, he won't be a problem for us on Sunday. And well, that's kind of because he's gone. He's left Girona. He's gone to Roma. So he's not going to be an issue. But replacing him at Girona is a very familiar face in the form of Abel Ruiz. He actually spent 8 years there as a Barcelona player in the youth levels and also made his way just about to the first team. And he's already opened his account at Girona. He's got 2 goals in La Liga already, and he will be one to keep an eye on, because even after what was a slow start to the season for Girona, they failed to win in their opening 2 games. They did have, though, really tricky fixes. Betis there, Atletico Madrid. Those are not easy games to start the season, but if you look at their last 2 games, big win there against Osasuna, and that was a real dominant performance as well from Girona, and then a really impressive win away at Sevilla. So they are starting to find their form again, looking like the kind of team that made an incredible run, of course, last season, qualifying for the Champions League this time around. Girona must be taken seriously. They are no joke. However, guys, luckily we have plenty of tools to play well on Sunday. We have plenty of players here who can certainly hurt Girona. And why not talk about one of the most informed players in the world right now? Of course I'm talking about Raphinha. This man has been on fire this season, and I would just like to remind you here, he comes into this game off the back of 2 weeks of rest. He has not been on international duty. He's not had to travel. He's not had to play any matches at all. All he's been doing is training in Barcelona, fully focused on our next game. And it's absolutely incredible here that he is the one player you'd want to be at 100%, to be at his maximum. And that is what we're going to see from Raphinha here, because I thought it was really interesting in the week there, guys, that Raphinha did an interview with the club itself directly. And it was really interesting to hear some of the insights he gave us on Flick's man management style, because he actually said that Hansi Flick doesn't really ask for anything special on an individual level. He said he doesn't really demand anything of me personally, individually. And he said, I don't think it's like that with any other player either. But he said what Flick does demand is that we're a team. And he said when we attack, we all attack. And when we press, we all press together. And when we have to defend, we all defend as one. He said only then will we win games. And I think that's a really important statement there from Raphinha, because Flick, I feel, doesn't overcomplicate things. He's not giving players there huge amounts of information. He's not overloading them with instructions there to sort of keep them rigid and bound during a game. You know, he does let them express themselves. He lets them be free, but he makes absolutely sure that, look, as an individual, you can express yourself. You can be free there and fluid maybe in your positioning. But when it comes to the teamwork, you are all as one, and you must buy into that, and you must be part of that team shape and that team structure. So as an individual, you can do things, but as the team, you all stick and work hard together. And that's really, really important here. And that is what we've seen in these opening games. And I would just like to say, guys, on the La Liga awards that we had for August, what a clean sweep for Barca. We had Hansi Flick as the very best coach. We had Raphinha as the very best player. And we had Lamine Yamal as the best under-23 player. And that right there, that is just a testament to the work that we've done so far this season, the levels that we've been able to reach. And now all we need to do is keep them going. But indeed, guys, if we do move on to the very latest team news that we have right now, and starting with injuries, because indeed we did lose one player during the international break. Unfortunately, Fermin Lopez is ruled out of this game there. He got injured during Spanish under-21 training. Now, luckily for us, it's not a serious problem. He's not expected to miss many games at all before he's back, but he just will not be in time for this one right here against Girona. There is also still no Frenkie de Jong right now, because of course the club had been hoping, and we'd all been hoping to be honest, to see some sort of positive sign from him after the international break, but that might still be possible right now. We might get our wish with Frenkie de Jong, because it's being reported right now in the media that Frenkie has been training individually. He hasn't been back with the group this week, but he has been without any pain in that ankle over the past few days. So providing right now that there aren't any setbacks with Frenkie, next week we could see him back in full training. That right now apparently is the plan with Hansi Flick, to reintroduce him there to the group, and Frenkie there could be still several weeks away from maybe returning to matches, but even getting him back in full training, that would be a major step right now in the right direction. So let's hope here that he can stay pain-free. And then there's Ansu Fati, who I think, like we said yesterday, it's going to be one game too soon for him right now. He's been training really well this week. Everything is on track with him, but Flick just wants him to have more group sessions before being involved on a match day. And I think he's now targeting that Monaco game away next Thursday. There's plenty of time in there now for Ansu to get more sessions under his belt, to get even more prepared for the games to come before he does make his eagerly awaited big return in a Barca shirt. But if we do indeed move on here to the potential starting lineup of Hansi Flick, because he's spoken in detail there about the hectic fixture schedule that we have to come, but even despite that, I'd still expect Flick to start strongly here. I would expect him to think, okay, we're coming back from an international break. We want to pick up where we left off, so we start strong here. We set the tone, we set the tempo for everybody in the squad, and really he is going to go big. I think the only doubt right now, maybe according to some of the media, could be Dani Olmo, because obviously he did pick up a bit of a knock on international duty with Spain. He didn't play in their second match. Now, he has been back in Barcelona, and he's been training there without any problems. I think he's going to be fine to start here, but that's just one thing maybe that's playing on Flick's mind, especially when we're thinking here about not taking any unnecessary risks. So it'll all depend there on how Olmo's feeling and if he is 100% recovered and ready to start. But if he is, I honestly wouldn't be surprised here, guys, to see the exact same starting lineup that we saw against Real Valladolid. Number one, because they were that good. I mean, a team that plays in that way, you want to see it as often as you possibly can. And like I say, I think this Girona game, it's one of the tougher ones that we have to come here. So I think we definitely need to start with the strongest team that we can. We will rotate maybe as the game goes on. If we can get ahead in the game, that would be fantastic, because then don't be surprised to see, for instance, Ferran Torres come on as the game goes on, as it maybe opens up. We saw him come on and score against Valladolid. Exactly the same for Spain in the international break as well. So Ferran is an option from the bench. And you also wonder, guys, when we're going to start seeing the likes of Hector Fort for the first time this season. We saw Flick speaking with him at the end of the Valladolid game, and it seems only a matter of time, really, before we see Hector Fort, because of the rotation we'll need to do, and also because of how versatile he is. He can play on the right, he can play on the left, and I don't think it's going to be long before we see Fort here in this Flick team. But I expect us to go strong. I expect us to start quickly. That's what we've done all the time under Flick. We must be ready for this challenge. However, guys, we still have the really important topic of predictions ahead of this game, because we are still in the position here, both me and you, where we don't have any points. You know, at least as a collective here. You might have got some on your own, but as a group, we're struggling to get the right selections. But this weekend, it's all going to change. I can feel it right now. We are going to rack up some prediction points, because right here, we've got the first Barcelona goal scorer prediction, and you guys have opted, and it was a lot closer this time, but you're still going for the dependable Robert Lewandowski. Lots of votes as well there for Raphinha and for Yamal and Dani Olmo, and it just shows here we've got plenty of goal scoring options in the team, and that is absolutely fantastic to see at last. Now, personally, I am again going to go different here. I'm going to make sure that we have a few different selections on the goal scorer, because I'm going to go with Raphinha. I think he's going to pick up exactly where he left off against Valladolid, and especially with that 2 weeks of rest, you can expect big things from him. I think he is going to score here and open up things for Barca. But what then about the scoreline? That is going to be the big one, because I still haven't put an option in there to win by 7+ goals, because, hey, if we do that again, I might have to. So Barca, let's see what you're made of here. But I think plenty of people are expecting a closer game. It's not going to be easy against Girona. You guys there have gone for a win by 2 goals. And you know what? I absolutely agree with you, because I do think here that Barca are really going to be tested. This is not going to be an easy game for a lot of it, I'm sure. But I still count on us to score goals. I still feel as though right now we have so many threats, we have so many options, and we will get chances against Girona, and we've been putting them away. We really, really have so far this season. So I'm going to go there for a win by 3 goals to 1. A 2-goal margin, and Raphinha to hit the first one. Those are my predictions. Please do let me know as well in the comments what yours are, guys. Because this is a big game. This is a very, very important game here. We've got to keep this momentum going. We've got to keep this feeling going within the fan base. And I cannot wait to experience the game with you guys tomorrow. Big one that it's going to be. And let's hope that it ends again in a really, really special way. Thank you indeed, guys, to all of you here today for joining me for the big preview. I hope that you're still enjoying them. And I really, really appreciate all of your feedback and all of your support. I will catch you tomorrow for match day. Let's do this. And until next time, guys, as always, Vizca, El Barça.